You know, since we got the partner Nintendo Direct, it does make me ask a couple questions, like are we still getting that September Nintendo Direct or whatever the next big Nintendo Direct is gonna be? Will we get a Metroid Prime 4 Nintendo Direct, and so on? I mean, not to mention the Legend of Zelda movie, and a lot of other things when it comes to Nintendo as a brand. I like third-party games, but I also do like my Nintendo first-party IPs. Which, by the way, what do you want to see from Nintendo when it comes to just news in general on anything Nintendo related? Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the Robo Show, where we take the gaming news format that channels like Spawnwood or Arlo do, add a dash of animation and some cool editing on top to bring you your gaming news, leaks, and rumors in a fresh new way. In this video, we are going to talk about the next Nintendo Direct, the big Nintendo Direct, Nintendo's plan on when it could be, what month it could be held, and what future plans Nintendo has, or what they could have for Metroid Prime 4 leading up to the release, and not only up to the release, but after the release as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, it helps the video reach more viewers when you do, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is RoboRob93. Without further delay, let's get on to the topics. So the Nintendo Direct was a partner showcase for July. It's kind of weird that they had it at the end of the month. I really didn't expect them to do it at the very end of the month. At the time of this recording, it's about a couple hours before that Nintendo Direct ended up being released, so I don't know what we're going to be getting right now as it stands, but considering it's a third-party Nintendo Direct, more than likely there's a very slim chance that anything related to like Metroid Prime 4 is going to be there. And not only Metroid Prime 4, but other big Nintendo Switch games that we just don't know about, whether that be like a new Mario game or maybe a new Zelda game or things like that. I think a lot of people, me included, who wanted to see that big next Nintendo Direct is because the Nintendo Switch 2 was just released and we're all expecting like big games for the Nintendo Switch that we just bought, the new system. It's a new generation. I think that's why a lot of us do want that big Nintendo Direct, because we are wondering like what crazy games are Nintendo gonna be bringing to the Nintendo Switch 2. And unfortunately, it was a partner showcase, and like I said in my video, I do enjoy third-party games, but it's not exactly what I personally wanted. So the big question then is, when is the next big Nintendo Direct? Well, Nintendo usually does hold a Nintendo Direct in September. Now, when I do say that, usually we do end up getting a September Nintendo Direct, but as we've seen in the past couple months, Nintendo really isn't playing by the rules anymore. It's kind of just a wait and see to see what kind of pattern they're doing, especially when it comes to just the patterns of Nintendo Directs. Usually Nintendo likes to do what works, so it's going to be interesting to see next year if they end up doing the same type of thing. Will we see the same pattern of Nintendo Directs? Now, when it comes to the big Nintendo Direct, there are a couple ways that Nintendo could go about doing this. And this really does stem partially from Metroid Prime 4, because Metroid Prime 4 is a 2025 game as far as we know. We don't know if it's going to be delayed or anything, or if there's any trouble, but as far as we know as the player base, it's going to be in 2025, so you would assume that that's either going to be something like August. Doubt it's going to be August though, something like maybe November. I have trouble saying that it's going to be in December for the release date of Metroid Prime 4, because that would be really weird. That's Christmas, so I don't think they would release it in December. I feel like November is probably going to be the month. So that leads me to believe that maybe we're going to be getting a September Nintendo Direct. Now, Nintendo already had a lot of games lined up for the months, and I feel like the reason why we're getting a partner Direct is because they're just trying to fill out more with third-party games, especially considering that there wasn't really a lot announced during those June showcases from like Ubisoft and all the other third-party developers like Sony and Xbox. We know they're going to be bringing more games to the Nintendo Switch and more platforms. And leading up to this Nintendo Direct, there were rumors about a lot of third-party developers holding back on games. So I expect to see a lot of third-party games hitting the Nintendo Switch in terms of news today. So I think that's one of the reasons why Nintendo is going to be holding a September Nintendo Direct, potentially anyways. Again, that's one of my theories. Because Metroid Prime 4 still needs its release date, and also they're going to have these third-party games to fill out the months until September, and then September will set up the next 6 months, the rest of 2025. One would assume anyways, because we still do need that Metroid Prime 4 release date. So that's my first guess, a September Nintendo Direct that will give us that news. Now, the second guess is a little bit different. It would be really weird if they did this, but again, Nintendo isn't really playing by the rules right now. So here's my second guess. Maybe it's gonna be like an October or November Nintendo Direct. I think, now that I think about it, October would actually be a pretty sweet spot. We know that we're gonna be getting Pokemon Legends ZA in October. Now, we don't have a release date for Metroid Prime 4, so maybe they'll announce that release date in October, assuming we don't get a September Nintendo Direct, because whenever this next big Nintendo Direct is gonna be, I think that's when we'll get the release date for Metroid Prime 4. I would be very shocked if they hold a big Nintendo Direct with a bunch of first-party exclusives for the Switch 2 and they just don't give us the release date for Metroid Prime 4. That would be absolutely insane. So my second guess is an October to November Nintendo Direct. Leaning more towards October because I think November is going to be the release date for Metroid Prime 4. That seems to be kind of the sweet spot. After Pokemon Legends ZA, but right before Christmas, really seems like a good spot for Metroid Prime 4. And then, of course, January is 2026, so it wouldn't release in January. Now, another theory I have is that we're probably going to be getting a Nintendo Direct focused on Metroid Prime 4. I feel like Metroid Prime 4 is a really big game for Nintendo, so they're going to want to give more info and details and, any special additions like Joy-Cons or any sort of maybe figures or whatever they have planned for Metroid Prime 4, they're going to put in that Nintendo Direct, I think, and we're probably going to get one focused on the gameplay and explaining the story of Metroid Prime 4. One of the reasons why I say this is because we did get one on Mario Kart World, we got one on Donkey Kong Bonanza. It would make sense to get one on Metroid Prime 4. That pattern that Nintendo is doing for these games, I could see them continuing that with that game. Now, as to what month that can be held, that entirely, I think, depends on the release date for Metroid Prime 4 whenever Nintendo is going to announce that. And when it comes to release date, they could either announce it at the next big Nintendo Direct, again a September or October Nintendo Direct, or potentially even in Metroid Prime 4's own Nintendo Direct. So at the next Nintendo Direct, if we don't see the release date for Metroid Prime 4, don't be surprised if they announce a Metroid Prime 4 Direct and we get the release date there instead. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is what's going on with the ports of Metroid Prime 2 and 3, because that's one thing that's been rumored for quite some time, and I don't see why Nintendo wouldn't put those on the Nintendo Switch 2, especially since we have the Metroid Prime 1 remastered, and Nintendo seems to be doing more ports and stuff, and it's just more games to release for the Nintendo Switch 2, right? So my theory on that is that Nintendo is probably going to drop some of those in between now and the release date for Metroid Prime 4, whenever that's going to be. If it's going to be in November, like I think it is, I think we might see it at the next Nintendo Direct, because again, I think that would also be perfect. Having that release date for November and then holding an October Nintendo Direct and saying, hey, these games are releasing now, or even if it's like a stealth drop in October to get people ready for Metroid Prime 4. Who knows, maybe even the Metroid Prime 1 Remaster will go on sale or something, I don't know, or maybe they'll do a whole pack. It'll be really interesting to see, but I think overall, Nintendo is going to release those games. But yeah, those are just some of my theories on what I think Nintendo's going to do with the Nintendo Direct, Metroid Prime 4, Metroid Prime 2 and 3, and overall, just some of their plans. I'm sure they have a lot of plans that we're not even expecting, like Kirby Air Riders. We might get a new trailer for that in the Partner Direct. But overall, let me know your thoughts and theories about that stuff down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.